to give you a hint on what we're going to talk about next.
We got to play the first 8 hours of Final Fantasy VIII. All of us... I'm sorry, we did not play FF8. So we played Final Fantasy VII. When you get into this thing, there's like loveless signs everywhere and all this like... It's not super amazing. The best themed part was the Turk girl.
Yeah,
there's a girl dressed up as a Turk, and she's in character the whole time, and she has like the buttons and shit as one of the Turks.
She ain't playing around.
That's really cool.
She is an employee of the Shinra Electric Power Company, and don't fuck with her. So when you get inside, they pretty much set it up like it's Transformers the Ride or like Star Tours.
Right? Like it's,
They set you up with this big ass like Jesse, like it's like Shinra Power and Electric, brought to you by like, and it's like this wonderful powers of Shinra Power, and it's people living their lives in Midgard. It's kids happy on bikes, driving around. They're like fixing industrial city streets, and they're like tearing down. And what's cool is that it looks like sort of like neo 1920s. But that's the thing. The FF7 world had like weird automobiles, looked like they came out of the 20s, but were futuristic. And that's what everyone's technology is like. They look like you're in the 1920s. There'd be a guy delivering crazy milk, but there'd be a crazy robot like also doing shit. So it was like crazy to see like FF7's like upper plates realized in high definition and shit. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool.
It reminded me like of Advent Children when you get to see the nice part and stuff like that.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. And so it's like just a big, bright, beautiful Midgar city. It looks like a hustling, bustling San Francisco sci-fi shit. And then the line gets jacked by Jessie, and she's like, blah, 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 like, all right, we're gonna set this bomb and fuck these motherfuckers up. She didn't say that, but she starts going over the details of like what we have to do, and then all these alarms go off and shit, and like Shinra, there's like a Shinra warning. And then she essentially gives you a breakdown of the gameplay, and she's like, this is what you're gonna need to do to get it there. Press the square button to attack, and shit like that. I'm like, so they're going all in on the theming of this. I'm eating this up like it's fucking chocolate cake. Right? I'm like sitting here just, okay. So she gives you the demo. Like, the stuff that you see of Jessie is like a cutscene that's sort of like cut. She's not like, her lips aren't moving, but they did voice record the actress, just for E3. And they set up some story stuff. There was a unique, you got to see a little bit more of the first bit. The night sky as it pans down into Aerith. You get to hear a little bit more, and it's like super brooding, super haunting shit. In fact, let me change. You essentially get to see a little bit of an extended of what they show in the trailer, but it essentially is just like Aerith cut to Cloud on the back of the train, cut to train parking, cut to Cloud jump off the train. So what I'm trying to say is no one's actually seen the full intro yet of like Jessie and Wedge and everyone like jumping off the thing and kicking the guys and Barrett going, let's go. Like no one's actually seen that yet. They just straight cut to Cloud jumping off, so we don't know what that is.
You know, it's hilarious. I was in the PlayStation PSX.
Exactly, but you don't see it now. Like I think they're like obviously cutting it.
I mean, that was different voice actors back then.
Exactly.
So it's almost like, wait, what? Did they not voice these parts over?
It's weird. It's weird that you don't actually see the full intro. You don't see the zoom in or anything like that. It actually doesn't do that. Anyway, so long story short, the demo isn't that big. You would hope that the demo would be like, it starts in right from you jumping off the train. Oh no. Oh god, there's so much less.
It's like,
it pretty much like
the final part of getting to the bottom of the run.
You know, after like, you know where Jessie gets her leg stuck on that weird middle orange area? You pretty much start from like around there, but it's like big and expansive. So Jessie's like, there it is, like the bomb thing's down there. And then Barrett and Cloud are like, all right, and you start climbing ladders down. But the cool part, this is the music that you hear, and it is like way more haunting than this. Like the actual, the Mako reactor themes, I think are some of the best themes to set up like the really creepy feel that you get when you go through some areas in FF7. And I am glad to say you could hear this theme through it, and it is fucking super good. I just took times to stop because your characters do a lot of clinks and clanks and stuff when you're like running around. It sounded really cool. Generally, like graphically, the game is running at about 30. At some points it's like 45, and some points it's close to 60. Some points it's like 25. it was a little all over the place right now, kind of like FF15.
And I said, and you agreed with me, was that it was weird because it was the frame rate was dipping at the beginning of the demo.
Yeah,
not during not as much during the boss.
When there wasn't action, like when you're like exploring, it was kind of like dropping into like the 20s a little bit, like the high 20s, and I was like, okay, there's some dips here, but I just hope that's something that gets ironed out because obviously it's pushing a lot, and the biggest thing I was worried about is that in the trailers, I'm like, so are these cutscenes CG? Because they look really good, like the ones of Aerith praying, the runs of like Cloud and the talking and the Scorpion boss. They're not. Like when you see them on a screen, they look in-game to me. So they're actually rendering like in-game character model and then super high-end CG, kind of like crazy high polygon, what's it called? Cinematic models of the characters load in when they have those. So the in-game, when you're fighting, is a cinematic, and then the camera zooms around and it goes to like default camera view, bam, and you're fighting. So there's no loading, there's no screen light.
Transition. There's no transitions. There's no going to a fighting screen. You fight the characters in real time where they are on the map.
Yeah. And then you run into a couple of, you're essentially crawling down all these ladders and scaffoldings as you get down. And the thing you immediately realize is
Xenoblade does kind of.
Barrett makes a comment about the reactor's size because it's fucking huge. Like you look down and it's just like this crazy bubbling volcano of green, and through grates and all this shit. And Barrett's like, man, what would it be like to fall down there? You'd fall straight through the planet. And Cloud's like, not really. You mostly get sucked up by you mostly get vacuumed up into a vent.
He's like, the pumps will probably suck you back up.
The pumps will probably suck you back up. And he's like, that's not very nice. Then Barrett has some snarky comment after, so immediately I was like, oh, okay, so they kind of talk like people. And that's the thing you start noticing. Barrett and Cloud sort of have some banter between each other. And in between, Cloud's his like stoic, like, I'm just doing this shit for the money, man. Come on, like, I don't care. Let's go do this. And when they talk to each other during battle, they sort of reflect that. So he's like, oh, shut up, rookie, like, you know.
One of the things I noticed, too, with the dialogue there, like, when he's planning the bomb, he sits there and he name drops Tifa. He's like,
that scene was fucking cool,
you better be
dude.
worthy, like, if Tifa says, the thing is, in the original game, you didn't know who Tifa was, you hadn't met her yet.
Yeah.
So,
but now
I don't think he says Tifa at the beginning of the bombing run. So in this game, they're kind of looking at it a little bit differently, where it's like
they know the players know who Tifa is.
Either A, we know you know who Tifa is, or B, maybe you meet Tifa earlier.
So you kill a couple of bad guys. Well, I guess we'll briefly talk about the combat in this situation. So you get into fights with like basic guys that just have a little bit of health, but you realize that your basic attacks don't do a lot of damage. You're like, you can just hold down square.
You can kill people.
You can kill people, but every time you get an ATB charge, it's like, motherfucker's dead. Like you like whack the shit out of a guy, and suddenly they die. So you can just hold down square, or you can like mash it. It's either way. But when your Cloud is running around,
could you hold it with Cloud?
Yeah, you could.
Oh, you could.
Yeah, I was just holding it down, but he would go into certain strikes and then stop and then do it again, and then go to like. He had like 3 or 4 pre-canned animations.
Did you do a launcher with him?
No,
I did it. He does like that back.
He does like a launcher.
What is the input for it? I have to do so. There's
like a timing thing. It's like square timing. Like
so that's the thing.
Square beat square.
And that's exactly what I fucking thought. I thought I was doing things, but then I saw that you can just hold square. It must be just like Final Fantasy 15, where you just press the button down and then it auto does it for you. I'm like, okay, well that's not so bad. But apparently, I did start seeing different things when I was timing presses, and you were getting actual combo strings. So I was like, this is why I get to go play the game again to sort of mess around with shit. Because anyway, the regular attacks do a decent amount of damage, but when you launch a guy and then go for an actual ATB spending gauge, which is all you have abilities. So it was like triple slash, like a blunt slash, which does more stagger damage.
So basically has like a stinger,
a
triple slash, and braver.
He's got braver, which is just all of them had different things they do. Like one was good for stagger, one was good for overall damage, and one like pushes the enemies back or something like that. Yeah. So it's about positioning, and it's about a bunch of different things that are very early in the game right now. But once you do them, they do fucking damage. So the cool part is that you're like whacking a guy, and then a guy like hit a railing and then fell over the railing, and I whacked him again and he went in the air, but then I got my ability, so time slowed down. It's like, you have ability, you want to use it? I'm like, sure. So I did triple slash against this guy when he's in mid-air, and you just hear the guy, oh! He just fucking flew to the other side of the reactor. I was like, shit.
Feel bad for those guys.
It was like, there's some crazy juggling shit that you could do.
You know what's weird? I really like the blocking.
Yeah,
he just looks badass.
Yeah.
He's like holding the
so
sword, and he just
you can
walks,
hold it and block, and
he looks like a badass.
The heavier the attack, the more it pushes him back. So he has like level 1 block, level 2 block, and level 3 block where he like leans into it. The cool one that you didn't really see a lot in the trailer was character knockdowns.
Yeah.
And I swear this is in like Xenoblade or some shit. So your character can be toppled. If you get hit by a beefy attack that's like an unblockable or some big charge up attack, Cloud will literally get, like, they had a sweeper, like those big bipedal sweepers, knock Cloud down, and then step on his ass. And Cloud's like, underneath the foot of this fucking thing. And the game is like, you better switch to Barret and to help him out, or he's going to die. And they show Cloud getting crushed, and he's like, and he like gets fucking murdered. So there's a lot of moments where a character is going to be in trouble. You need to switch to another character because they can help the other one out. And there's moments where Cloud is just sitting there, and there's enemies that start flying around. You're like, motherfuckers, I can't get to you. I literally can. I have to charge my ATB, and I can do fire, but I don't have that right now. I'm gonna block and switch to Barret, and Barret's like, I got you! And like, Barret has moments where he talks and responds and knows as the player what you're thinking. So he's like, he's up there, I got him!
I got this
and then
shit.
Barret's like, go, and dude, I'm getting so fucking happy because it was just, my favorite thing is just having the characters talk to each other, and Cloud's like, give me some assistance, and then it switches over to Barret, and he has a response because the game knows you have to do this shit and shoot him. And I just love to see the characters talk to each other, to hear them talk to each other, so fucking super gushing on that shit.
So, like, imagine when you get, like, other teams and other shit like that. It's just like
we only get 2 characters in this demo. Like, it's super short. You only get 2 characters. There's just a lot of combat dialogue, and it never comes across as cringy. That's the best part. It feels like this feels organic. Like unlike some FF15 shit, most FF15 shit, when you're in the field, characters talk to each other, and it's a little like. Where it's just like pre-canned or something like that. This feels more like it's going in with the combat. With certain happening. It was like well-scripted combat dialogue because they know this is about to happen. It seemed like, and I'll say this right now, a lot of people are commenting on Barret's character and the way he looks. I will say, Barret was translated a lot differently in the US to sort of be Mr. T, like in terms of like a stereotype kind of way. And Mr. T's a cool, fucking has always been cool through childhood and was a big part of our childhood, so that's why they did that, because he's like a cool character like that. And they sort of do emulate that here. Like, he has this very like bombastic, like, goddamn! Like, he says goddamn like 4 or 5 times in the demo. When I was playing, like, get that goddamn laser out of there, and he just starts shooting him and stuff like that. So he curses. Like, Barret cursing was not in the Japanese version very much. Very little. I watched a translation thing that talked about like how Barret is a lot different. He's like this stoic but powerful character. And this one he's like audacious and bombastic, and they changed that in the American one. This one is following the American one.
He's like a preacher. Like
it's following that. He definitely is like. He's boisterous and he's gonna get that shit done, but he does.
Swearing preacher.
He definitely dropped at least 4 goddams during this stuff, and he does that in the game. He does that in the original FF7. He never said shit. He never said anything else besides that. But he is vulgar, just like he is in the FF7 that we remember. And I kind of don't know. I kind of didn't mind Barret like that. I'm used to him being that way.
Barret.
So
I think the acting's good.
They all sounded.
I do prefer his previous voice actor, but
I think the guy does a good job.
Not the way. I wouldn't want to hear like Bo Billingsley was the old actor. I wouldn't want to hear him saying the things Barrett's saying now.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think it fits him.
He's much more of a younger, more like irritable, like super more. I don't want to say excitable or irritable, but yeah, he's kind of got like that more like
preachy voice.
Preachy voice.
Hey, it's like, I got this.
But he does, he is hype as fuck. Like, when you get control of Barret, he's like, let's get him! And I'm like, oh, yes, sir, Barret, yes, we'll fucking shoot the shit out of this thing.
Like, in a way, I feel like the PSX trailer was Japanese accurate.
Japanese accurate.
He goes like, bitch, let's go, and he's like, we're paying you more than a few gil.
Yeah.
You best be worth it.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of how his attitude
that's
was
how Barrett is in Japanese version.
Yeah, and so this version is now
They're portraying Barrett as he was in the
original American translation.
And I kind of appreciate that because it is a different Barrett that they made for different versions, and both are fine, and I think both actors are doing a great job.
No one was doing a bad job in there.
Yeah.
No voicing was bad.
No one was bad.
Cloud is so obviously different, but the good thing is that he does not come across as monotone ever. Like, if there's any parts of like Advent Children Cloud that are very like monotone because of the way his character is, not the case. Like, he is snapping back at Barrett when Barrett's talking shit about something, and he'll like have a quick and witty, fast response, and Barrett goes like, "Hey, shut the hell up!" and then keep shooting, or like, keep fighting, or some shit. Yeah. So they have a lot of back and forth. So Cloud is definitely, he emotes. He definitely has moments where he says like, "Watch out!" and shit like that. He's kind of sassy early game Cloud. Is he a dork? It's hard to tell yet because early Cloud isn't really a dork. He's an asshole.
Yep.
And he's an asshole until he runs into Aerith, which is the way the game sort of is. So one of my favorite things of it, no shit, is the characters talking to each other. It was honestly one of my favorite fucking things when the characters actually started communicating, because it was better than the original. Like, it was even better than I imagined it could be. So you kill some enemies, some guys die, you get to the boss fight, which triggers a cutscene.
I think it was like 3 battles before the boss fight.
Yeah, it's like 3, a guard comes up and then 3 other guards come up. Oh, we can talk about Barrett's gameplay. Cloud's like mobile and nimble.
Yeah.
Like, he can just move quickly.
Let me just point out, when we say nimble, he is not like Dissidia. It is not like Kingdom Hearts. It's not like 15.
He is grounded.
It is much grounded. It is much
Characters
heavier.
don't do this like flight shit, that you always control
like
Cloud.
Fly forward or anything like that.
Cloud has like, he has to run. The sword is behind him because it's heavy. It's got, you feel like Cloud is burdened because he has this big fucking sword that he has to. But when he swings, it's insane. But he has to lug this motherfucker
but he's
around.
lugging it. He's doing like stuff like this, two-handed. It's not.
He has the wind up.
He's got a wind. It's actually very well. There's a run button. Yeah. You can actually slide. You can walk down the things, and you can press the run button to slide down things.
I didn't slide. No wonder.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
People were spending all the time.
I was trying to do all kinds of things to just slide.
I was trying to do it.
I know. And I was all. Oh wait, I do have a run button. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Not floaty. The characters felt very grounded. Yeah. And Barrett felt extremely... Barrett was a tank.
Yeah.
Like, when he rolled, he was like... he like went on his shoulder and got up, and he didn't go very far.
Oh, yeah. It was like a Gears kind of...
This is not an aerial rave game.
It is
not an aerial rave combat.
Even his little dodge, like when that little sidestep that when you dodge with Barrett.
And it'll make perfect sense when you play as Tifa, and she's fast as fuck. And probably can move really quick and can dodge really far.
Nimbler than Cloud.
Yeah. Because in certain parts, it's tough to dodge things where it's like, I don't know if I'm going to dodge this.
Dude, I was
and you're just getting lit the fuck up.
Yeah.
And you need to block. Like, you need to actively hold down the block button. Barrett was cool because he actually felt like a completely different character when he was doing stuff. And the cool part is that there is, not described very well, and I'm pretty sure we saw moments of it, there is a combo system.
Yeah.
There is a system that will reward you if you stack things on top of things, and the way it's done is, when you're playing the game, you get an ATB gauge. You can spend the ATB gauge on using an item, on casting magic, or using a weapon skill special ability.
Yeah.
So, when you have Cloud, and you look at Barrett has some stocks as well, you pretty much do, I'm going to do Braver with Cloud. While the Braver animation is happening, you press L2.
L2 or R2.
Or R2. And that enters the same pause screen, but it flips over to Barrett. And you can see Barrett's point of view as it's like in slow-mo and Cloud's running at him. And you can choose something to do with Barrett to combo in. So Barrett can choose a weapon skill or something like that.
Yeah.
And the big thing you're looking for on enemies is stagger. The health bar that's below their health bar is their stagger gauge. The enemy will actually fall down, and you'll be able to fuck
go to town.
You literally topple them.
Yeah, you literally topple them over Xeno style. Or FF13 style. So I did notice that when you did do certain attacks that comboed into each other, it went back to Cloud, and Cloud like finished the animation. It was this big cinematic fucking thing. And then Barrett's thing goes boom, and Cloud goes whack and knocks him down. And the stagger, it says stagger 160, like 160%.
Yeah.
So, and then some enemies would go wah, and they'd like fall on the ground, and Barrett would say something, "Get him, boys, down!" And then Cloud would run in, and he's like, "Don't tell me what to do." And he would start whacking the shit out of him or some shit like that. So,
man, it's
There is. They didn't explain that there was a combo system, but they did recommend you do that. Like they didn't explain like how it was going to impact things, but materia can change that.
And the demo
materia
is
like materia stagger bonus, materia elemental boost if you do like a magic thing with this, and that's where it's like the game comes across as like really like kind of basic because the beginning of FF7 is super basic. You got bolts and fire and cure and 3 weapon skills and not even that in the original. So it's like how crazy this can be, and you're like, oh, that's how it kind of gets crazy. That you don't even have a third character, so you have to think about the third character doing all this shit and jumping in and doing stuff. So that's about the extent that we can think about with the combat. I can't even.
Yeah, like how the pause thing was really cool. Kind of like most of the time.
I used hotkeys.
So here's the big difference between us. So the game, as they explained, the game emulates active-passive from Final Fantasy VII Original, ATB, where you have to be like, I have to execute the menu faster than the enemy does because the enemy's on a different timer, and they might go ahead of me, and if they get their turn, they're going to go first, so you have to be fast. And the original FF7 has passive, where it's turn by turn, where it's just like, you just wait, and then it's your turn, then it's their turn, then it's their turn, then it's your turn. So they emulate that in the game. Characters, when you have that slow-mo thing and you're choosing what you want to do, and the game essentially stops for this cool cinematic view, that's the same thing as passive in the old FF7, where it's like non-active battle. And you get to sort of choose on the fly, and I get to have a little bit of time to choose what I want to do. But, as Simmons will explain, so what were you pressing? Like
L1,
when you did it?
you hold down L1, and so you have, if your ATB gauge is full, Cloud had 3 abilities, right?
Yeah.
He had Braver, he had Stinger, and he had Triple Slash.
Yeah.
Not Cross Slash. Cross Slash was still...
Cross Slash is the limit break, that's different.
Yeah.
So he had, and then also the hotkey on X. There was a triangle, square, circle for those for abilities. Yeah, L1 plus X is potion.
So if you want to, so the thing is, whenever you want to use potions and do that stuff, you actually have to pause, like the game stops.
Yeah, you press X and it does the
and then you do it. However, if you don't want to play it that way, it's naturally built into the controller that you can actually pilot all of those things on those characters on the fly. So you can actually have the game never pause and stop.
I honestly felt like it was making combos easier because it would be whacking away and I'd see the ATB go up and I'd immediately
just use it immediately.
L1 circle. So he would be hitting Kenny, and then boom, and he just goes right into like.
I noticed I wanted to swing the camera around when it was in the slow mo, and I couldn't.
Oh,
yeah. Like it was actually locked, and it would go into a view, and then it would start panning around.
Change target.
Yeah, I think you could change targets, but I
had a rough time figuring how to do that.
I was mashing the right stick to try to like swing around, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
So
you really just click like.
Yeah.
You have to do it really quick. You can't.
But I wanted to get like a cool angle, and it actually wouldn't let me.
Depending on where the enemy is.
I wish. Yeah, using an item still takes an ATB charge. That's essentially their coverage for Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
You still got to be careful with the hotkeys. Make sure you have enough ATB.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you hold down L1 and try to do any other button, it just does nothing.
There's nothing. Yeah. So your ATB charge limits everything. It sort of absolutely limits. Yeah. Well, you don't have to play with the slow mode.
If you learn all the hotkeys,
you can literally play the game without it. It's for people that want to play it.
You just gotta watch for
active
your ATB.
or passive. And the ATB defines what you do in the game. But the gimmick is just like what they do with like smart games like Doom. If you want your ATB and you want to do more spells, you have to get in and start whacking motherfuckers. Yeah. You actually have to get in and start fighting.
It naturally builds on its own, but like,
it builds slowly,
like a very slow tick.
But as soon as you start whacking away at things and you start like dishing damage, it starts building. Like you're like, Jesus Christ, I have ATB all the time. Like, I need to start using this shit.
We had 2 bars of ATB.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll expand or change in the final.
It most likely will be armor based or some shit.
Yeah.
Materia based.
We had both Cloud and Barrett had 2 bars.
2 bars.
And you could, and Barrett, some of his moves required 2 bars.
Required 2 bars,
yes.
Some of some of his big attacks actually required 2 bars to use. So it makes it seem like there's going to be a whole bunch of different ATB options in the end.
Yeah, I did that when you could just switch characters and tell the character what to do as well. So that was good. When I saw Barrett had 2 ATB
switch that motherfucker.
I didn't like switch characters. I actually just did the command.
Oh yeah.
So you just go and it automatically switches, but it doesn't directly go to Barret. It just goes to his abilities.
So
you just tell him what to do.
Yeah.
After you tell him that, it goes back to Cloud.
You can do that to like combo his abilities with Cloud's
with
abilities.
yours.
It's kind of like if you want to play it turn-based, you can. Like you can act. They actually had the consideration. Like we know people love the old FF7. We don't want to take that away from them. You want to play this game turn-based, you practically fucking can. Yeah. You just want to hold down auto attack.
You will have to move and fucking.
You will have to move your character.
And I think it's good for like people who are new. It slows things down a little bit. Like, oh god, you know, fuck.
To be frank, to be frank, and I don't know if this is a good thing. I love the shit out of it because I like it when things are dialed up to fucking 11 in game sometimes, and it's just like, oh, this is really cool to blow my ass, like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. When the combat kicks in and you start flipping between characters and you flip to Barret and you just did the mood with Cloud and you get the perspective of Barret charging up the shit and you see Cloud executing what you did, I'm like straight like, fuck, man. Like, there's always shit blowing up and doing stuff and you have to keep track of this guy that's moving over here. It is action-packed, like, and some people might not like that. Some people might not. It is very action-y. Like,
dude, no, without a doubt, without a doubt,
it will,
and
it'll get easier to manage.
Well, you have to pay attention to where you are on the map. If a boss is doing certain things, you have to take cover.
You have to take cover.
There are like different points on bosses. You'll have to go behind it or something. So it's like
it's not something you can just keep hacking.
You can't play it one-handed.
No, you can't play the game one-handed. You need to sort of be aware on everything of where they are and what's going on.
You will have to move around and play the game.
So it didn't. It seemed like with all these mechanics and these decisions, they thought about this shit. They're like, okay, we get it that you want to be put into an epic battle every single time where you don't feel like you're just controlling one character. You're doing things with everybody.
But the thing is cool. It's badass to see him fight because he's like, and then when you get a special, he's like,
yeah, and he's saying shit.
It looks fucking
like
cool, man.
Yeah, the animations are
the animations
sweet.
And the effects. It just looks cool to see, even though he's just a gunner. Seeing him hunker down and like, and then like launch his attack.
The hit sparks are fucking crazy big, and there's explosions everywhere and shit. There is another team gimmick that they put into the game outside of being crushed and getting a teammate to help. You can also get apprehended by certain enemies. And if you're playing as Cloud or Barret or whoever, you can literally get stolen. And then it says like your the little lockout thing goes over your commands, and Cloud's like, fucking help me! And Barret, if you switch over to Barret, they'll have a response and they'll say like, I got you! And then Barret will shoot. You have to control Barret and aim at the thing and choose the right target and help them out, and then they jump out, and then you're all free to fight and you switch back to Cloud. And they say some snarky shit to each other every time, which is, it's very fun. So,
if you see some pros or some awesome speedrunners or some awesome dudes play this, it's gonna be like,
so yeah, there will be like, the game is actually very action-y.
Yeah.
Like the dodging and the moving of your characters and the timing of the abilities and where you do them, when you do them. There is no jump button.
No.
For a lot of people that are curious, you cannot jump. I think Cloud Auto will strike up or some shit at some higher enemies.
You do a combo.
Yeah.
I never used the block with Cloud. I always dodged.
I tried to always dodge too. Triangle, I looked on the menu, was examine. So there's probably going to be no sense materia. You can actually look at the enemy and check out like what's going on in their HP.
Although
some stuff.
If you had sense materia equipped, I imagine it would put like a life bar.
Or it'd give more like information about
like
what they're weak to and shit.
See, like, this,
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. So yeah, the boss fight. Best part about the beginning of the boss fight is you get the first dialogue in FF7, the first big chunk of dialogue where Barret's talking to Cloud. So Barret goes over and is about to plant the bomb, and he says, "You do it." And he's like, why do I have to do it? And Barrett's like, I don't exactly trust you yet. That's why, and I don't know if you're still on their side. So how about you do it, and how about you be the one to do it? And Cloud's like, I don't care if you trust me or not. I'm just here to get paid.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if you want your check, then do it. Then Cloud's like, fine. So Cloud walks over and then gets the vision. He gets the headache. And before he got like a message. He says this isn't any normal reactor or something like that. That doesn't happen. Instead, he gets a flash and everything goes like bright white / like gray, like monotone. And he's sitting there like, what? And a black feather falls and then dissipates.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a giant fucking alarm goes off. And Barrett's like, you double-crossing son! Barrett thinks it's your fucking fault. He's like, you piece of shit, I fucking knew it!
And he's about to, like, fucking blast you.
Yeah, Barrett's about to, like, kill you or some shit. Yeah. And then the spider, the scorpion boss drops in. And the scorpion boss plays out just like you saw in the big
crazy trailer.
The crazy demonstration. But it is epic as fuck, dude. Like, when those missiles come down, it's just like boom, 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 and you're just like barely dodging out of the way. The effects look good, and the nice thing is that the game was actually performing frame rate wise better there.
That part.
There was moments where that shit was running at around 50 to 60 FPS, so I was like, oh, this looks really good when it's running good. And then some shots were boom, 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 back to 30.
Yeah.
Like, sensibly back to 30. So the frame rate was kind of all over the place. And the characters during these moments have a lot of dialogue exchanging. Like, they say a lot of, like, hella snarky shit to each other. Like, like Cloud responds, like, Barrett tells him, like, you should be doing this and this. Cloud's like, don't tell me what to do. like, how about you focus on yourself and don't tell me what to do?
He's like, how about you just keep shooting?
Just shut up and keep shooting. There's a lot of really cool little moments, and whenever you switch to a character, they say something neat when you switch to them, and there's a lot of interaction between them, and that is one of my favorite parts of the entire demo. And my biggest problem, number one, the sharpness on the TVs were sent to like
1,000. And
so
Cloud had that weird ass alias.
Cloud had this crazy aliasing thing around his hair in some shots, and like the sharpness was way too goddamn high. Like,
we're gonna make it look really good.
I know.
Because you were so close to the TV.
Well,
and then that's the other part.
So here's the game. Like, here's the TV, and here's you.
Yeah.
So like,
you're like, if Kenny is the TV, and I am me, and I am right here, and the TV is like this big, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. But the cord was so short.
Yeah. So you're trying to like kind of get back as far because the action is so fucking intense, and the thing is like,
yeah. So you're like, I was too close to the fucking screen. Like, the game is too action packed for me to be 3 feet away
like about that.
from this 50-inch screen. Yeah. Like, that was my biggest gripe. Was that anytime I tried to move back a little bit, I would lose sound, and I'm like, oh shit, I have to like lean back in. So you're in the fucking TV a little bit too much, and it looked way too aliased because holy crap, the sharpness was insane. Because even when you back to the PlayStation Dev menu, it was sharpened to shit, and it looked just nasty, like double lines, and I was like, ugh, like what the fuck is? Back to my argument about them fixing some of the TVs.
You were close, man. You were fucking close.
You were really close to it. I'm actually gonna, if I get a chance to play it tomorrow, I'll be like, can I step? Can you loosen
I know,
this?
with the headphones, it was a little longer.
I'd love to play it from like
I would
this
just love to play it from a solid 5 feet away. And be okay. Because so there was a lot of input delay on the stupid fucking TVs, which was unfortunate.
Which is true of like every
TV at
E3. They all are on like fucking like what's that mode? Movie mode or some shit,
or epic mode, or
So all the dark colors are like super crushed, and it just doesn't look.
Yeah.
It obviously was like, okay, I've seen the trailers, and some of the trailers look much better than this. The game obviously doesn't have this much contrast. Like, there's. That's the thing that sucked the most, was that you're too close to the TVs, and the TV's setups were just super whack, like absolutely jacked up. But at the end of it, like, you beat the boss, and then he falls in, and it cuts out there. I will say the boss takes a long damn time.
It's like
this isn't a little boss fight. This is a technically 4-tiered boss fight where it goes through 4 phases.
Yeah.
And each and every time you can actually whack the leg, and the leg explodes, and it's like all exposed, like armor guts are in there, and there's like pieces of shit everywhere. And then by the time the end of it has happened, it's like shooting its tail laser everywhere, and then giant collapsing pillars are falling into the stage. As it's happening,
saw in the trailer.
Just like you saw in the trailer, like it's like Jesus, it's epic as fuck, and the music is just the music is this theme just going the fuck in dynamically as shit's happening, and then as you knock it down and it goes into this big slow mo, it's essentially a Kingdom Hearts thing. You knock the enemy, and then it goes and then Barrett and like Cloud are they're mid motion, and then it goes to a cutscene.
Yeah, that's true.
And I really like it. Like that shit is That shit is fucking cool.
I didn't have issues with the camera. I was worried about it for a sec that I would get...
The camera at times, sometimes for me, was a little stupid.
Yeah. I think in the corridors where the hallway was kind of
a little stupid.
Narrow. Yeah.
It wasn't incredible. I was still able to see a lot of stuff, but sometimes it didn't highlight action very well.
Yeah.
I would say definitely, if you're talking about something in-game that I can gripe about, the camera felt like it was a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Maybe a 6. It was okay.
It wasn't bad.
It was functioning.
You know what? You didn't get to hear a lot of victory music.
No, there was no victory fanfare.
Yeah, there's no fanfare.
It just cut right into...
Because
it was just like, here's your reward, here's this.
You kill a guy and you just see the shit on the side.
The shit come down.
Yeah, when you kill enemies, you just get rewards and you keep moving.
Yeah, so it felt a little naked.
That is true. Very similar to Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
There's no victory fanfare.
So it feels a little weird.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is true.
It feels like a little...
Currently in the game, there is no victory fanfare.
Yeah, it feels a little naked.
No Lucky Joey to go like...
Definitely. Yeah, that's how they did it in FF15, and it was not good.
You were fighting, and you were like... You felt like...
Maybe that'll be changed.
Maybe you can add it.
Level up. If someone levels up, then they'll play that.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That'd be a good idea, but yeah.
I don't know. It was, I'll have to pay attention to that.
Yep.
I'll have to specifically pay attention to that shit
I was trying to listen
tomorrow.
to it. Because I'll be honest, my favorite fanfare is Final Fantasy VII fanfare.
Well, it's the best.
I love it. It's awesome. And Final Fantasy VIII, I love that game, but I hate its fanfare.
Yeah.
No, the 7 just sounds... it just sounds like... It fits with the tone of the game and all that stuff, and it's awesome.
Yeah. It was when you slept in FF15. Yeah. Well, so far, there was no victory fanfare. That's all I'll say, is that now that I think about it, that was one thing that was missing. Yeah. But visually, it looked really good. I would love the game to run at a steady frame rate. Don't do this 30 to 40 to 50 to 25 shit. Like, just please, dear God, I know Square doesn't do this. Please, dear God, just put it at 30. If your shit can't do 60 all the time.
I did a survey afterwards.
Yeah, we did a survey.
I said, 60, and it's, but like, honestly, like 30. I said, like, if it has to, if you can't, it's just keep it at 30.
Keep it at 30.
I said, just stabilize it. Always 30, always 60, not in between.
Because there were some moments that were really smooth and looked really cool, but sometimes it was running at like 30-ish, and it wasn't. No, I tried menu screens. I specifically tried, and I think they were locked out. When I pressed the menu screen, it went to a tutorial. Here's the buttons.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So I think currently there's no menu managing, because that was one thing I was immediately curious about. It wasn't in the demo. It was very specifically a demo. And the thing is, I think this demo is kind of old too. I think this is kind of...
I saw a guy next to me when he went and reset it, and he hit the PlayStation button and had like a bunch of numbers on it.
Yeah.
It was like, a E3 Master demo.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. I don't think the date was...
Yeah.
It had like a date, like a numbers in front of it, and then it was like E3 Master demo.
Yeah.
It was probably from like a couple months
Well, that
ago.
is true. In the first bombing run, there is no fanfare. You are correct.
Yeah, you got a point.
That is a very good point. The fanfare never is. The music just plays throughout.
That's true.
And it goes... Brrring!
That is true.
Good.
That is true.
Good call.
That is true.
That's a very good call.
Yeah.
Overall impressions, Kenny, how did you feel about it as an FF8 fan?
As an FF8, I watched my friend play 7. I played through the first disc of 7 myself, but it's just fucking awesome. It is like... It's wild because like the action sequences are insane, man. There's like
I almost think that would be like a negative for some people.
It might be. Yeah. Some people might like, I wanted to slow it down and I want it to be a chess game and stuff like that.
I think that's actually. I think that's the reason they added the slow stuff.
Yeah,
because to give you a chance to breathe a bit. Because it's a bit like. It's a bit like you're always going the fuck in, and it's always just blowing up, and things are always kind of happening everywhere.
Yeah,
and you have to like keep it in control.
Yeah,
it's a little ballistic, right?
Yeah, no, but it's I mean, you get the best of both worlds, like, and that like when you saw that demo, and you're like, oh my god, and then you're playing it, and it's. Damn, it's what I just saw. That's pretty goddamn amazing. It's not the trickery of E3 where you see something amazing And when it's your turn to play the game delivers.
When
it
you
delivers hard.
When you looked at that trailer and you were seeing shit explode and they were whacking stuff, that is you playing the game.
Yeah.
Like that is that is no.
I'm telling you, that's why this game is going to be fun to watch. And and the thing is, this is like the first tiny little boss.
Yeah.
Imagine where this goes from there.
Dude, that's the crazy part. This boss is nuts.
Imagine where this goes from there, and then imagine when you get summoned and you're fucking up that boss.
Yeah. Yeah,
I know. Oh my fucking
it's
God.
almost hard to believe it being as ballistic, ass blasting, insane as this boss is.
Yeah.
And how long the boss is. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm going to be fighting Emerald Weapon until the next Final Fantasy, until the FF7 Part 2 comes out or some shit.
Yeah.
It's gonna be insane. So, yeah, it was a bit. I can understand why they added the slow-mo stuff in retrospective, where you kind of need to slow down sometimes, and if you don't want to have to deal with all the crazy fast action, because the slowdown thing is not an automatic action. It's a choice you make as a player with the controller to either do shortcuts or slow down, and you don't have to do one or the other. Like you can just choose whatever you want to do. When, JJ, how did you like it?
I was worried how we get used to the fighting system.
Yeah.
Because I never really played anything like that before.
You played Kingdom Hearts. It's
a little bit. It's a little bit like that.
A little bit.
It's a little bit like that. But this one was slightly better because you don't switch characters from Goofy to Donald.
No.
You know what I mean?
You can't tell Donald to stop being a shithead.
Yeah.
Oh, please fucking heal me.
Spoiler.
Please.
Yeah, so I was worried that I wouldn't get this. I'm gonna F this up. I'm gonna change characters wrong. It was a little bit like that for a sec because I accidentally pressed X and I was like, oh no, wrong button.
And you choose the wrong menu attack.
Or something, and then I just get out of it though.
Yeah, it'll be like a little learning curve or something like that.
Yeah.
But once you
it's
get
a very
good,
tiny learning curve.
Yeah, but I got used to it pretty quickly. The camera was a little bit hard for me when in battle. Only in battle. But when you're running around the world, it was fine.
Yeah, it was R3 to recenter camera
every
once in a while. But sometimes I felt like I should be controlling the camera and I can't. Like the game won't let you.
Yeah, no.
I agree.
In the combat, you can't really control it. I loved it. I really did. I didn't want to stop. I actually wanted to keep playing.
It made me think this is already it's not. A lot of the regular enemies beforehand were kind of easy, and I feel that the boss had a shit ton of life. The boss just had a lot of life, and if you fucked up a lot, you were gonna run out of healing or potions.
That's why I kind of like that they started off with the little soldiers and
to teach you.
To kind of teach you to get through it before they just throw you into a boss. You knew the boss was coming at the end, but they give you all these little monsters or little enemies. Sorry, not monsters, little enemies. And I started messing with the menu and using magic. And it's so cool when you use the blizzard magic. Yeah. It actually froze the enemy, the little ones that were floating.
Oh, really? I never did that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, cool. And then you just slash and hack
switch the cloud and then do shit.
Yeah, you just switch it, So that was really cool because it was. I actually like that because you got to work and get used to the fighting mechanism and how the menus work before they throw you.
How'd you think the way it looked?
Oh, I think it looked fantastic.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell the frame thing, whatever you're looking.
I know.
But the thing is, it was the...
But just in terms of just how does this game look to my eyes? It's pretty I can't imagine it looking way better. It's the character models are on fucking point. Cloud looks really cool. He looks probably the most faithful to his 97 version than any of them.
Did you not notice though, that we were playing on 4K TVs? 4K.
Oh, the game is definitely not. Well, it's almost it's not 4K for sure.
Yeah.
But it's impossible to tell because of how much sharpness was on.
Yes.
Impossible. Guys, we've seen the game running at a smoother aliasing than that shit on the trailers already.
Yeah.
So Jesus Christ, do they need to tone that shit down really bad?
Yeah.
But I think for them doing Unreal 4 for this game, seems they learned a lot from Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
In terms of loading and everything seemed kind of seamless. And when you got to the boss fight, there was no loading.
Yeah, I think it's just running a lot better than Luminous Engine is.
Yeah.
Or was. I don't think this game ever used Luminous Engine. Kingdom Hearts did. But
Actually, now that I think about it, from once they drop you in the zone, you pretty much run through the whole zone.
Yeah.
You get to the boss fight, it triggers a cutscene at the boss fight, and you fight the boss.
Yeah.
There's no loading.
Right. No, there wasn't.
Interesting.
Not once the demo actually started. No.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a big chunk of loading before that. It didn't. I don't remember feeling like it took a long time.
Not a lot. Not a ton.
Interesting. So I know. So Simmons is a big ass Xeno fan as well. And there's a lot of shit that's similar. Does it feel similar?
Oh yeah.
It feels more weighted than Xeno, right?
Yeah. Well, Xenoblade, you don't physically initiate the basic attacks. They're auto.
Oh, okay.
It's like Xeno in the sense that you have to do the automatic like small bitch attacks.
Yeah.
But the way Stagger worked, the way ATBs worked, I took to it like a duck to water. So
except blocking. Mostly try to dodge.
I didn't block at all. I just dodged. So that was nice. I liked it. I liked it was more weighted and not as floaty. I mean, I liked everything about the demo except the weird aliasing, which you could really see in Cloud's hair.
Yeah.
And
that is definitely amplified from the sharpening. Though.
Yeah, and the sharp. I'm like, there's.
It looked rough.
I knew the TV was fucked up, but then I was like, I don't know if there's like a weird aliasing going on top of it with his hair that does it, and the only other thing I was like, I wish the frame rate was stable, but they have 9 months to do that, you know, which is a big difference from 3.
That's a polishing optimization thing,
right? And I was like, honestly, like the only thing I wish this game had was a more stable frame rate. That was like it. Like that was my only takeaway of when I did the survey. Like, what would you improve on? I'm like, just stabilize the frame rate and you're fine.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all I want.
Yeah,
that's all I fucking want. Like,
because there's already a bunch of motion blur and shit like that happening.
I liked the interaction of the characters. I liked the way they played off each other. I liked the battle system a lot. I like 7, and I like having it, with the newer versions with the cheats, because that's great. But it's like I don't even know if it wasn't the fact that it's episodic, I wouldn't go back to the old 7.
Yeah,
because I much prefer to play a game like this with this battle system.
It's much more
than the old one, which is fine. I really like that. I really like having that real time battle system.
It honestly feels exactly like Resident Evil 2 was, where you're like, God damn it, do I want RE2 to be just like Remake 1 and have it to be static camera angles just looking amazing? Just give me that. I just want that. And then you go in and you play over-the-shoulder Resident Evil 2 and you're like, oh, this is way better. Oh yeah, this is actually way more intense.
Yeah.
And it's way wow, there's more shit you can do now.
I really like the way, I like the way how it because of, it's a 3D game, it's not a background on a pre-rendered thing. It's like it feels more immersive, I guess you could say. It feels more like you're going into the bottom of a bowels of a valley.
Yeah, it's when you get to the bottom of it, it's like Barrett starts coughing, and he's like, "Oh, I hate the taste of Mako," or something like that.
The scale.
Yeah, the scale.
The game has a lot. Like you feel the scale of where you are.
Yeah.
So much more.
That's one thing you miss out before is how large things are in FF7, and now they can actually properly scale them to be huge. Especially when you're going down the ladder, and then you're getting closer and closer and closer to this volcano of fucking Mako. It starts looking more and more intimidating. You're like, okay, well, this is kind of
that was. I am personally a little bummed that it's just Midgar, but like I said, I'm also kind of like, well, I'm kind of glad they're saving fucking Overworld for next gen.
Overworld/open world.
Episode 2 is not going to be on PS4. I'm pretty sure. I'm just going to gamble
It'll be
that.
a PS5.
So I'm like, I'm really bummed it's just Midgar, but I am really glad we're saving Overworld for next gen. As well, so it's kind of
make it even better.
It's kind of like call a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I'm a little. I don't know. You did the survey.
Yeah, I did the survey.
Yeah, I think you said the same thing.
Yeah.
You gotta understand when people go to E3. If you go to E3, you take a survey and you say, so what would you? What? How do you think I like the game? Do you think anything should be fixed? Nope, just keep it as is.
Oh my god.
No, it doesn't work that way.
That don't help. As much as you love the game, don't do that.
Even if I did that, I would say I loved the demo. However, the camera needs work. However, there's something weird going on with the TVs with aliasing. I don't know if that's in the game or what, but please fix that for the crap's sake. And I guess I would also say, probably other camera stuff. I think camera in battle also seems like it's a little wonky sometimes, of like highlighting action, and that's the thing that definitely should change. It should be a bit smarter.
Is there a big user base? Oh, well, PS2 has a bigger user base. It does. At some point, you got to cut the fucking cord for last gen.
And it's also going to be that PS5 is going to have a fucking huge user base.
They're going to make Episode 2 not be able to even run on a PS4.
Well, that's the thing. It'll be a PS5 native game, so it won't run on PS4.
Yeah, it's not even going to run on PS4.
Next gen's going to be backwards compatible, but...
So yeah, you'll have your save file, and then you'll play it on it, and it'll look awesome, and hopefully it makes it like solid frame rates all on the board.
Yeah.
If they have it optimized like that, that'd be sick.
I'd say for me personally, and I've explained this a lot, I like the old Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
Between the characters and story and the materia system and the world and everything like that, it's still my favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
And I think it still holds up. Some graphics things obviously don't hold up, but they have jank charm to them now. They have like awkward early polygonal charm. So they kind of get a little bit of a pass. So I am in that boat where don't make the exact same game. If you make the exact same game again, you run into a situation like Simmons has with Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you almost want them to do different. You almost want to make it like Ocarina of Time or some shit.
Expand it, make the island bigger, add to it. Like it's not the exact same map with the same dialogue. Like not one drop of dialogue's changed.
I mean, that's
expanded upon.
That's exactly how you have the old game.
Oh, so I'm going to 100% this thing the first time I play it. Great.
Like you literally have the old game for that. Like the old game is still good, and you can still play it, and you remember it the way it is, and it's fucking awesome. Still,
the thing is, the old game's always going to be there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like if you don't like the remake, the old game didn't go away.
Yeah.
It didn't magically like vanish from existence. So it's like I will always have the original game. So it's like I would prefer the remake be a little bit more daring. Do what Remake 1 did. Do what Remake 2 did if you want to go even more nuts.
So currently, and exactly, FF7 does not feel just like a retread of the same shit. It feels like the modern day equivalent. If we were to take Square Enix and be like, all right, you've been doing these action game things for a while now. You've been trying to do the Kingdom Hearts. It's obvious you don't like turn-based stuff anymore. You changed FF15 to be completely... It doesn't feel like FF15 or Kingdom Hearts at all. Like, there's elements. Yeah. There's stuff that's there, but it's its own thing. And it honestly feels way better than both of those games in general. Just because it's like they decided to mold in the classic shit, the active and the passive shit. They decided to mold in the fact that this is going to be much more action gamey than previous games, where Square in the past is sort of afraid to do action game stuff because they don't want to have people like, oh, that's a barrier of entry thing. We're worried that you're gonna fuck up and you're not gonna enjoy our game just because you can't mash attack or whatever.
Yeah.
So it seems they're not worried about that anymore. They're actually like they're willing to take a chance and like. Well, we're gonna make it so that if you just run into this cloud and you run into a fight and then all of a sudden there's an enemy that's way up high and is shooting the shit out of you, you can't reach him as cloud. Yep. You're gonna die. You will die. And then the game is gonna automatically switch you to Barret because you just died.
Yeah.
But you have to use your brain ever so slightly and switch to Barret to take out the enemy from it. Like it wants you to think about that.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. I think it's probably the best effort so far at this very early stage.
Yeah, like I said, you could stick with one character and play through the whole game.
Yeah.
Right? But there will be
that's true.
scenes where you have to switch to the other
There would be very
or
specific
use like a spell, maybe. Yeah.
Very specific moments that the game sets up where it's like telling you should probably do this. You should probably
it's
do
like,
that.
Cloud's not gonna reach that turret. I mean, unless you want to waste your magic, but it needs ATB.
JJ, you need to stop ruining my single character runs. My head canon single character runs already.
Yeah.
That is true. That'll become very difficult. It'll be a bear it as much as possible run. So yeah, there was a lot of tutorial moments like where it fixed in. It's like, hey, you should be trying this out as soon as this happens. Like the tail's up there. You should probably go. Like, there's going to be a lot of structural things you have to deal with on maps. Go take care of that shit though.
Yeah.
All in all, it is to me, it's the Resident Evil 2 remake to Resident Evil 2 is how FF7 is to FF7 remake to FF7, and that's I think that's and you feel it. Like, between the character dialogue, the way it looks, the way it animates, the way it's ballistically fucking action-packed, it feels like it's made by people who gave a shit. Like, it feels... You get this sense that we don't want to fuck this up. Like, we really don't want to fuck this up. Like, we know things have been rough for a few games. We really don't want to fuck this one up.
I kind of almost feel like the scope, and again, like going back to the scale of the game, I think this game is Midgar only because they know that the current generation systems really can't handle
what they're going for,
what they want.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
they knew always they wanted to make a fully fleshed out form of Midgar that you could explore. They knew they wanted to do that. But to do that and to have the rest of the game, you have to think, well, if Midgar is going to be this big,
yeah,
the rest of the game, the rest of the overworld has to be this big.
Yeah.
Can we do that on current gen? Oh, fuck no. So
yeah, you run into FF15 limitations in some areas and stuff like that.
So I think they probably just went like, you know what, we're going to do everything fucking humanly possible to make Midgar fully complete.
And that's what I think.
We'll figure out that other big part next time on a much more powerful hardware.
To go back to my like early prediction, it was always my very, very early prediction that Midgar would be kind of like a pretty focused but linear sort of like action adventure.
Yeah.
And then the next one would be sort of open world RPG. And then the next one would be like a mix between the two. Because Midgar in general is a big place with big locations, but it's ultimately in FF7 proper, in the old one, a very linear portion of the game.
You only go to Sector 6, Sector 7,
Yeah.
and Shinra Building.
Imagine if you
climb up to the Shinra. That's it.
Imagine if you can go to even twice as many sectors, or even twice as many buildings, or portions of Shinra outposts and stuff, and go do stuff with them, or hire more members into Avalanche or something.
So we don't know how many characters are going to show up in the first this. So someone was asking about Red 13.
We don't know.
We don't know.
No
And save points, it's a small, short demo. You don't go and
it
save.
is the bombing run.
It's just.
Oh, it's not.
There's
None
no
of that
save
shit.
point.
It's not, and it's not even the bombing run.
It's not even the whole. It's not even the whole thing.
I wouldn't even say it's
just a little bit.
It's like a quarter of the bombing run, sorta.
So what about the save points? There's
outdoors and all the.
You don't really do much. You just kind of like go into the.
Then you do the elevators, and then you go down. It's pretty much like after the elevators, and you go down.
Yeah.
And then that's about it. I'd say for me personally, yes, there was a lot of reasons to be worried. Yes, there was. I erased this game from my memory so that I wouldn't have to think about it because it's just.
Well, because it wasn't going to happen.
I don't want to let myself. I'd rather forget that FF7 remake was going to be a thing in case it just ended up blowing up and sucking ass. Or just never even fucking coming out. Like, ended up becoming vaporware or some shit. So, ultimately, it's...
Never gonna go out.
Ultimately, now that it has a release date, and we're seeing it, and we're playing it, it's absolutely better than I thought it was going to be. It's better than I ever thought it was going to be.
I was a little worried, because I don't think the battle system in 15 is very good, personally.
I think it's fun, but I definitely agree with you. The original 15 sucks, but when you get to control multiple characters,
just Noctis.
When you're controlling multiple characters, it gets way better.
Well, and that's what Final Fantasy VII was good.
Yeah,
that's dope.
That's where I was kind of a little afraid at first. I'm like, oh man, please don't be like 15.
Please don't be like 15. And it's not. It's not.
It really isn't.
It's definitely not. And that's the thing that. For a lot of people that are worried, oh, is it just like Kingdom Hearts? Oh, is it like FF15?
No,
it's not.
Really.
It's its own thing, and it does a lot of shit to try to fuck with you, to allow you to have customization, to sort of mess with the battles.
I don't think you're able to run away from enemies.
I didn't try.
I didn't try either, but the thing is, it's real time.
Yeah, so
it's all real time.
They don't disappear.
So an example, like there's no entering a fight. You're just running down there, and there's enemies every once in a while. And there's like a guard on post, and then when you alert the guard, he screams into like a walkie-talkie or some shit, and more guys show up like right after. Yeah. So then you fight like 4 guards. So I would have to see if there's any like reoccurring battles. If you can go back upstairs and you can maybe fight more guys.
And I don't think that we never had enemies random encounters.
Yeah, it was all you saw the enemies you were fighting, and then you ran over there and fought them.
But I never run past them to see if I could run away.
And when you ran over there and fought them, more showed up after.
A little bit,
from somewhere.
Yeah.
They would pop up in some way.
So that's good. I actually don't know if you can actually run away. I think maybe you can run past them. Maybe they don't follow you. I haven't tried it yet.
All good questions that I didn't have time to figure out.
No, because it was a time limit. There was
15 minutes
time limit.
And I'll get that time limit again to sort of fucks around with it and try to See if I can pull more out of it. In comparison to anything that has existed after FF7, this is the best Cloud and the best Barret talking to each other and looking and portrayal than anything. Better than Advent Children, better than Dirge of Cerberus, better than Kingdom, like, absolutely. So, I wouldn't worry about that too much. I'll be back with more 7 impressions tomorrow to answer some questions. If you have any questions regarding the game, I'll try to answer them tomorrow, like weird shit, but specific to the demo. Specific to the demo. Don't give me like, is Red 13 playable? I don't want that shit. Use your brain. Is there an open world map?
What's your end credits?
What's the end credits theme? Like, be smart. Tell the demo is one portion of the boss fight and a little bit before. If you have any questions regarding that, let me know, and I'll try to do my best to answer them. All right, guys, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.